The sky turned red at noon. Not the red of sunset, but an angry, burning red that made people stop and look up. Colonel Ta-Won Kim was in his office when the alarm started. "Sir, unknown objects entering Earth's atmosphere," said his aide, Sergeant Da-ho, rushing through the door. His face was pale. Tai-Won ran to the window. Through the glass, he saw them. Dark shapes cutting through clouds, too big and too fast to be planes. His phone buzzed with emergency alerts. "Get the Falcons ready," Ta-Won ordered, his voice steady despite his racing heart. The Falcons were South Korea's secret weapon. Soldiers trained to work with genetically enhanced birds of prey. Each soldier shared a neural link with their bird, seeing through its eyes when needed. Tai-Won hurried to the base's roof where his falcon, Chien-ji, waited in her special perch, the bird's golden eyes fixed on him as he approached. She was larger than normal falcons, with a wingspan of nearly 2 meters and feathers that shimmered blue-black in the sunlight. "Time to fly, old friend," he said, attaching the small neural transmitter to his temple. Chien-ji took off with powerful wings. As the bond activated, Tai-Won's vision doubled. He still saw through his own eyes, but also through Chien-ji's as she climbed higher into the sky. What the falcon saw made Ta-Won's blood run cold. Ships. Massive ships, at least 20 of them, hovering over Seoul. They were smooth and black, shaped like arrowheads. Smaller craft poured from their sides like angry hornets from a nest. Through Chien-ji's sharp eyes, Ta-Won watched the first blast hit downtown Seoul. A building collapsed in seconds. Then another, and another. "It's happening everywhere, sir," Da-ho said, looking at reports on his tablet. "New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, all under attack." "Who are they?" asked a young soldier, his voice shaking. "They call themselves the Krethar," said a voice from the doorway. It was Dr. Han, their science advisor. "They've been sending messages to all major governments for the last hour. They say Earth is now theirs." Another explosion rocked the base. The lights flickered. "Sir, our jets are being shot down before they even get close," reported an officer. "Their technology. It's like nothing we've seen." Tai-Won closed his eyes, focusing on Chien-ji's view again. The falcon had flown higher, showing him the full scale of destruction. Fires spread across the city. People ran through streets filled with smoke. "Gather all Falcon units," Ta-Won ordered. "We need to evacuate key personnel to the mountain base." "What about civilians?" asked Da-ho. Tai-Won looked at the spreading chaos. "Help who we can, but our priority is keeping the Falcon program intact. It might be our only advantage." 300 kilometers away, deep in the Taebaek Mountains, Park Ji-ho frowned at his buzzing satellite phone. The ranger rarely received calls at his remote cabin. He picked it up, saw emergency alert flashing on the screen, but didn't answer. Instead, he walked outside and looked at the sky. Even here, he could see strange lights moving among the stars. Ji-ho had lived alone in these mountains for 7 years, studying wolf behavior after leaving his job as a military animal trainer. He knew something terrible was happening. His instincts, honed by years in the wilderness, told him the world had changed forever. Ji-ho walked to the edge of the clearing and put 2 fingers to his lips. He whistled, a long, low sound that carried through the trees. The whistle changed tone, becoming complex and layered in a way that seemed impossible from human lips. In the distance, a wolf howled in response, then another, and another. Ji-ho listened to their calls, understanding their meaning as clearly as spoken words. He nodded slowly. "So you feel it too," he whispered. He returned to his cabin and opened an old wooden chest. Inside lay his past, military tags, specialized equipment, and a worn notebook filled with codes and patterns. Things he had hoped never to need again. As night fell, the distant sound of explosions reached even his remote home. Ji-ho stepped outside again and whistled once more into the darkness. This time, dozens of wolves answered. 3 months passed since the Krathar came to Earth. The world that once was no longer existed. Colonel Ta-1 Kim crouched behind fallen trees on a mountainside. His uniform was dirty and torn. With him were 20 soldiers, all that remained of his once proud Falcon unit. Status report, Ta-1 whispered into his radio. Northern road clear, came Sergeant Daho's voice. 2 alien patrols passed an hour ago. None since. Southern approach, asked Ta-1. 1 transport ship landed near the old temple, reported Lieutenant Han. They're setting up another relay tower. Ta-1 sighed. The aliens had placed these towers all over Earth. They let the Krathar control their machines and track human movements. Qianji will get a better look, Ta-1 said. He closed his eyes and activated his neural link. At once, he saw through his falcon's eyes as she soared high above the mountains. The bird's vision was so sharp that Ta-1 could count the alien soldiers around the tower. Then Qianji's attention shifted. Something else was moving through the valley. A small ship, trailing smoke. It wasn't flying in formation with the others. Q1, are you seeing this? Ta-1 asked his tech specialist. Yes, sir, Q1 replied, watching the feed from Qianji on a small screen. That ship is damaged. Looks like it's going to crash. Ta-1 watched through Qianji's eyes as the alien craft descended shakily into a small clearing about 5 kilometers away. It hit the ground hard, sliding through trees before stopping. It could be a trap, warned Han. Maybe, said Ta-1. But if that pilot is hurt, they might have information we can use. Daho, Q1, Han, you're with me. Everyone else, hold position. The 4 soldiers moved quietly through the forest. Years of training with their Falcon partners had made them experts at silent movement. After an hour of careful travel, they reached the crash site. The alien ship was smaller than most Krathar vessels, probably a scout or personal transport. Its dark metal hull had a long gash down one side. The door was partially open. Cover me, Ta-1 ordered, approaching slowly with his weapon ready. He peered inside the ship. In the dim light, he could see a single figure slumped in the pilot's seat. The alien was larger than a human, with gray-blue skin and a bony ridge along its head. Dark purple blood leaked from a wound in its side. The alien's eyes suddenly opened. 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, all glowing amber. It reached for a weapon. Don't move, Ta-1 shouted, aiming his rifle. The alien froze, then spoke in a harsh, clicking language. A small device on its armor translated into broken human speech. Kill me, if you must, human. Ta-1 noticed markings on the alien's armor that he hadn't seen on other Krathar soldiers. Who are you? He asked. I am General Vorkal, the alien said with difficulty. Second Command, Krathar Fleet. Hayan stepped forward. Sir, we should eliminate it now. A general could have valuable tech implants. Ta-1 hesitated. Something was strange about this. A high-ranking officer, alone in a damaged ship. Why are you here, General? Ta-1 asked. Where is your escort? The alien made a sound like bitter laughter. No escort, for traitors. Traitor, Q1 asked. To whom? To those who want your world destroyed, Vorkal said. His 4 eyes began to dim. Not all Krathar believe in this war. Ta-1 made a quick decision. We're taking him with us. Q1, help me carry him. Sir, Hayan protested. This could be a trick. If it is, we'll deal with it, Ta-1 said firmly. But if what he says is true, he could be our first real advantage in this war. As they carefully moved the wounded alien out of the ship, Qianji circled overhead, sending Ta-1 images of the surrounding forest. Through the Falcon's eyes, he noticed something unusual. Wolves watching from the tree line. More wolves than should be in one pack, standing silently together as if waiting for something or someone. He's waking up, Q1 said, stepping back from the alien. General Vorkal lay on a makeshift bed in the Falcons' hidden mountain base. The cave system had once been a tourist attraction. Now it sheltered the last organized resistance in the region. Taiwan approached the alien, hand on his weapon. "Can you understand me?" All four of Vorkal's amber eyes focused on him. Yes. Translation device. Working better now. His voice was still harsh but clearer. "Why did your own people shoot you down?" Taiwan asked. The alien general tried to sit up but winced in pain. Dried purple blood covered the bandages Q1 had applied. "I opposed the invasion," Vorkal said. Was part of a group called the Harmony Faction. We believe in contact, not conquest." "You have a strange way of showing it," Hayan said bitterly. She had lost her family in the first attacks. Vorkal's upper eyes blinked slowly. "My faction lost the debate. The War Council voted for invasion. Those of us who disagreed were given a choice: join or die. So you joined," Taiwan said. "I pretended to join," corrected the alien. "I rose in rank, gained trust. Yesterday I sabotaged the main weapons system on our largest ship." His mouth formed what might have been a smile. "They discovered me before I could escape." Taiwan studied the alien carefully. "If what you say is true." "Sir." A young soldier burst into the cave. "Crothar patrols. 3 ships heading this way." "They tracked his ship," Han said, glaring at Vorkal. "I told you this was a trap." The alien general struggled to his feet. "Not a trap. My ship has emergency beacon. Activates if I do not. Turn it off properly." "Everyone move," Taiwan ordered. "Grab only essential supplies. We leave in 5 minutes." The base erupted in controlled chaos as soldiers packed equipment. Taiwan released Qianji outside to scout. "What about him?" Daho asked, pointing at Vorkal. "Bring him," Taiwan decided. "If he's lying, we'll deal with it later." They moved deeper into the mountains as darkness fell. Qianji's vision showed the Crothar ships circling their abandoned base. Soon ground troops would follow. "We need to cross the ridge before dawn," Taiwan said, looking at the steep path ahead. Vorkal struggled to keep up, his wound clearly causing pain. When they reached a narrow cliff path, a loose rock gave way under the alien's foot. He slipped with a grunt. Hyunwoo, their youngest soldier, was closest. He reached out instinctively, grabbing Vorkal's arm. The sudden weight pulled both of them toward the edge. In a blur of movement, Vorkal twisted his body and pushed Hyunwoo back to safety, while the alien himself dangled half off the cliff. Only his clawed hand gripping a tree root kept him from falling. Taiwan and Daho rushed forward, pulling the alien back to safety. "You saved him," Taiwan said, surprised. "Why?" Vorkal's breathing was labored. "Young one has much life ahead. Besides, what good is my word if I let your people die?" They continued in silence. Hours later, as they rested in a small clearing, Taiwan activated his link with Qianji again. The Falcon showed him something strange. They were being watched, not by Crothar, but by wolves. The same wolves he had noticed earlier, now following them. "We're being tracked," he told the others quietly. "Crothar?" asked Q1 nervously. "No. Wolves. Too many of them, moving together." Vorkal tilted his head. "Wolves. You're Earth predators. Why would they follow us?" Before anyone could answer, a sound cut through the night. A clear, complex whistle that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The wolves in the darkness answered with howls. "We need to move," Taiwan said, feeling uneasy. "There's someone else out here." Dawn broke over the mountains. Taiwan and his group had walked through the night. They were tired, hungry, and lost. "Water ahead," said Daho, pointing to a small stream. "And look, a cabin." A simple wooden cabin stood in a clearing near the stream. Smoke rose from its chimney. "Someone lives here," Hayan whispered. "This far in the mountains." Taiwan motioned for everyone to take cover. He sent Qianji to fly over the cabin. Through the falcon's eyes, he saw a small garden, chopped wood, and animal skins drying on racks. Someone had been here for a long time. "Approach carefully," Taiwan ordered. "Q1, stay with our guest." Vorkal sat against a tree, his breathing heavy. The alien's wound had started bleeding again during their escape. As Taiwan stepped toward the clearing, the cabin door opened. A man walked out. He wore simple clothes, had a beard, and carried no visible weapons. He looked at the forest directly where Taiwan was hiding. "Your bird has been circling my home for 10 minutes, the man called out. "You might as well come out." Taiwan gave the signal, and his soldiers emerged from cover, weapons ready. The man didn't seem surprised or scared. "I'm Park Jae-ho," he said simply. "This is my home." "Colonel Kim Taiwan," Taiwan replied. "South Korean Armed Forces." Jae-ho's face showed no reaction. There is no South Korea anymore. No countries, just those who survived. A low growl came from behind the cabin. A large gray wolf stepped into view, then another, and another. "Sir," Hayan whispered, raising her weapon. "Don't," Jae-ho said sharply. "They won't hurt you unless I tell them to." Taiwan stared at the wolves. There were at least 10 of them, watching with intelligent eyes. "You control them?" he asked. Jae-ho shook his head. "No one controls wolves. We understand each other. Now, why are you here?" Before Taiwan could answer, Q1 called out, "Sir, he needs help now." Vorkal had collapsed, purple blood seeping through his bandages. Jae-ho's eyes widened at the sight of the alien. "You brought one of them here." "He's different," Taiwan said quickly. "He saved one of my men. He's against the invasion." Jae-ho looked at the alien, then at the tired soldiers. After a moment, he whistled. A short, sharp sound. The wolves retreated into the forest. "Bring him inside," Jae-ho said. "I have medical supplies." Inside the cabin was simple but clean. Books lined one wall, many about animals and wildlife. Strange drawings covered another wall, showing what looked like sound patterns. Jae-ho worked on Vorkal's wound with sure hands. "You were a doctor?" Hayan asked. "Animal trainer," Jae-ho replied. "Military, like you. Until I saw how they used what I taught them." He cleaned the alien's wound and applied a paste made from plants. "This will help with infection, even in aliens, apparently." When Jae-ho finished, Vorkal's eyes opened. The alien looked around, confused. "You are not soldier," he said to Jae-ho. "No," Jae-ho agreed. "I left that life behind." A wolf suddenly appeared at the cabin door, growling. Taiwan and his soldiers reached for their weapons. Jae-ho made a strange whistling sound, rising at the end, then falling in a complex pattern. The wolf immediately stopped growling and sat down. Vorkal watched with all 4 eyes wide. "How did you do that?" "I spoke to him," Jae-ho said simply. "In his language." Jae-ho nodded. "Each whistle means something different. Warning, comfort, direction. Took me years to learn." Vorkal struggled to sit up. "On my world, those who speak to animals are sacred. We call them soul kin." He looked at Jae-ho with new respect. "I did not know humans had such gifts." "Most don't," Jae-ho said. He looked at Taiwan and his falcons, then at Vorkal. "But it seems I'm in a room full of exceptions." Outside, more wolves gathered, waiting silently in the trees. 3 days passed. Vorkal grew stronger with Jae-ho's medicine. The soldiers rested and repaired their equipment. Taiwan sent Qianji out daily to watch for Krathar patrols. On the 4th morning, Taiwan found Vorkal sitting outside the cabin. The alien was studying the wolf that lay nearby, watching him with yellow eyes. "Your wounds are better," Taiwan said. Vorkal nodded. Your friend has healing skills. And strange friends. He gestured to the wolf. Why did you really turn against your people? Ta-One asked, sitting beside him. Vorkal's 4 eyes blinked slowly. The Krathar were once like you. We lived with our world, not just on it. But we chose technology over nature. Each generation grew more distant from our planet. He looked at the mountains around them. When we found Earth, some saw a new chance. Others saw only resources to take. Jai-Ho emerged from the cabin with 3 cups of hot liquid. He handed them to Ta-One and Vorkal. Tea, he explained. Good for healing. Vorkal sniffed the cup cautiously before drinking. The War Council plans to strip your world bare, he said. Then they will move on to the next planet. How do we stop them? Ta-One asked. We can't, Jai-Ho said simply. Not with so few people. Vorkal set down his cup. Perhaps we can. The Krathar fleet operates on a central command system. Orders flow from the main ship through relay stations on the ground. Ta-One leaned forward. The towers they've been building. Yes, these stations transmit commands using quantum frequencies. If enough stations were disabled at the same time, the fleet would be confused. Ta-One finished. Blind, even if just for a while. Enough time for your remaining forces to strike, Vorkal agreed. Jai-Ho stood up. This isn't my fight. I left war behind. Ta-One looked at him. There is no behind anymore. This war is everywhere. Inside the cabin, they gathered around a small table. HFY had modified a tablet to show a map of the region. 3 relay stations within 50 kilometers, Ta-One noted. If we hit all 3, we would need more people, Hayan said. Ta-One nodded. We have other resistance cells we can contact. But even then, these stations are heavily guarded. We would need a distraction. Your Falcons can target weak points, Vorkal suggested. Their sensors are not designed to track small flying objects. Not enough, Jai-Ho argued. We would still be outnumbered. And the stations have automatic defenses. Jai-Ho, who had been silent, suddenly spoke. What about my wolves? Everyone turned to look at him. Krathar sensors are calibrated for technology, not wildlife, Vorkal said slowly. Animals might not trigger their alarms. How many wolves do you know? Ta-One asked carefully. Jai-Ho walked to the door and opened it. He put 2 fingers to his lips and made a long, complex whistle. They waited. In the distance, wolves began to howl. The sound came from all directions, from dozens of throats. Enough, Jai-Ho said simply. Vorkal's eyes widened. How do they all answer to you? I spent years with these packs. I helped them when hunters came. When they were sick, they trust me. Jai-Ho looked at Ta-One. Your birds are trained. My wolves are not, but they will follow certain signals. Ta-One thought for a moment. We would need perfect timing. All 3 stations hit at once. And worldwide coordination, Vorkal added. Other resistance groups would need to strike their local relays at the same time. My radio can reach the other cells, Q1 said. With Vorkal's codes, we could contact resistance groups around the world. Ta-One looked at the unlikely group around him. Soldiers, an alien general, and a man who spoke to wolves. 3 species, he said quietly, fighting side by side. 4, Jai-Ho corrected, looking out the window where Qianji perched nearby. The birds fight too. Then we have a plan, Vorkal asked. Ta-One nodded. We have a plan. And maybe, just maybe, a chance. The morning air was cold as Ta-One watched his soldiers train. 2 weeks had passed since they formed their plan. Each day brought them closer to their mission. Again, Ta-One ordered as Hayan released her falcon, Bitna. The bird soared into the sky, then dove toward a target they had set up, a piece of metal painted with Krathar symbols. Bitna struck the exact spot Hayan had aimed for, then flew back to her arm. Good, said Vorkal, who stood nearby wearing a makeshift human jacket over his alien frame. But remember, the relay stations have shields. The birds must hit the power nodes exactly. Taiwan nodded. They'll hit them. Our neural link lets us guide them with precision. Nearby, Jai-Ho worked with his wolves. Today he had brought 15 of them to the training area. He made different whistling sounds, and the wolves moved in response. Some splitting off, others gathering, all listening carefully. Your control is impressive, Vorkal said to Jai-Ho. On my world, such a skill would make you a high priest. Jai-Ho shook his head. Not control. Partnership. The wolves choose to listen. As they spoke, something unusual happened. Qianji, Taiwan's falcon, landed on a rock near one of the wolves, a large black female with one white paw. The wolf, which Jai-Ho called Bakdu, looked at the bird. Neither animal attacked. Instead, they seemed to study each other. Look at that, Jai-Ho said, pointing. I've never seen a wolf so calm near a bird of prey. Jai-Ho smiled slightly. Animals understand more than we think. They know we're working together. The strange moment was interrupted when Q1 ran up the hill toward them. Sir, incoming transmission from the east cell. They gathered in the cabin around the radio. A woman's voice crackled through the speaker. Colonel Kim, this is Captain Minji Lee. We received your message. 20 fighters ready on your command. Taiwan's face showed surprise. Minji. I thought Seoul East Base was destroyed. We escaped underground. Minji replied. Been fighting since. Is it true you have a Krathar helping you? Vorkal leaned toward the radio. General Vorkal of the Harmony faction. At your service, Captain. There was a pause. If the colonel trusts you, so will we. For now. Over the next few days, more resistance fighters arrived at their mountain base. Some looked at Vorkal with hate in their eyes. Others were simply curious. All were desperate for a way to fight back. Captain Minji arrived with the last group. She was tall with short hair and a scar across her cheek. Her eyes widened when she saw Taiwan. You look terrible, Colonel, she said with a small smile. War does that, he replied, then added more softly. It's good to see you alive, Minji. That night, they gathered around a small fire. Jai-Ho had warned against a larger one that might attract attention. Vorkal shared information about Krathar tactics. They rely too much on technology, he explained. They expect enemies to use machines, not animals. This gives us an advantage. Minji looked doubtful. Birds and wolves against spacecraft. Sounds like a children's story. Sometimes the old ways work when the new ways fail, Jai-Ho said quietly. As if to prove his point, a wolf howled in the distance. Seconds later, Bakdu, who lay near the fire, lifted her head and answered. Around them, more wolves called in the darkness. Minji shivered. How many are out there? 30 packs, Jai-Ho said. Over 200 wolves. And 17 falcons. Taiwan added. Plus 60 fighters. Vorkal looked up at the night sky, where Krathar ships moved like new stars, against thousands of Krathar soldiers and hundreds of ships. We don't need to defeat them all, Taiwan reminded everyone. Just blind them long enough for the worldwide strike. As they spoke, Qianji glided down to perch near Taiwan. To everyone's surprise, Bakdu moved closer to the bird. The wolf and falcon sat side by side, watching the humans, and the alien plan their battle. Look, whispered Jai-Ho, if they can work together, then so can we. Taiwan finished. Dawn broke over the mountains. Today was the day. Taiwan checked his weapon one last time, as his soldiers prepared around him. All teams report ready, Jai-Ho said, looking up from the radio. Worldwide strike begins in 2 hours. Vorkal approached, wearing modified human body armor over his alien frame. The Krathar had painted his face with dark stripes to hide his blue-gray skin. The relay station has 20 guards, Vorkal reported. 4 at each entrance, the rest inside. Minji frowned. That's fewer than we expected. They don't expect an attack here, Taiwan said. Most of their forces are in the cities. Jaiho stood apart from the others. He wore simple clothes with a belt of strange whistles and tools. His eyes scanned the tree line where shadows moved, his wolves waiting. Remember the plan. Todd 1 told the gathered fighters. Team 1 hits the north entrance. Team 2 takes the east. The Falcons target the power nodes. And the wolves. The wolves create chaos, Jaiho finished. They moved out in silence, approaching the relay station from different directions. The Krathar building was ugly against the beauty of the mountains, a black metal tower with glowing lines of energy running through it. Taiwan's team reached their position first. Through his neural link, he saw what Qianzhou saw from high above. Krathar guards patrolling with energy weapons, unaware of what was coming. In position, Minji's voice said through his earpiece, "Ready on your mark." Taiwan looked at Jaiho, who had climbed to a ridge overlooking the station. The man nodded once. "Begin," Taiwan ordered. Jaiho put his fingers to his lips. The whistle that came out was unlike any they had heard before, starting low, then climbing higher, with strange patterns that no human should be able to make. The sound echoed across the valley. For a moment, nothing happened. The Krathar guards continued their patrol. Then the first howl came. A single wolf, then another, then dozens. The sound came from all directions. The Krathar guards raised their weapons, scanning the trees. Their sensors blinked as they tried to locate the threat. Now, Taiwan commanded. 17 falcons launched into the sky from different positions. Through his link, Taiwan guided Qianzhou toward her target, a glowing blue panel on the tower's side. The first wolves burst from the trees, not attacking yet, just running in circles around the station, confusing the guards. The Krathar fired wildly, their shots missing the fast-moving animals. Sensors can't lock on living targets that small, Vorkal explained, crouching beside Taiwan. They're programmed for weapons and vehicles. The humans began their assault. Minji's team hit the east entrance hard, drawing fire. Power nodes. Taiwan reminded everyone. Qianzhou dove straight down, talons extended. She struck the blue panel with perfect accuracy. Sparks flew. Around the tower, other falcons hit similar targets. The wolves changed tactics. At a new whistle from Jaiho, they attacked in groups of 3, striking guards and retreating before they could be targeted. Taiwan's team fought their way inside the station. Vorkal moved with surprising skill, knowing exactly where to hit the Krathar armor to cause maximum damage. "This way," the alien general said, leading them toward the central chamber. Inside, they found what they were looking for, a glowing crystal structure that pulsed with energy. "The relay core," Vorkal explained. "Place the charges here and here." He pointed to 2 spots on the base. Outside, the battle grew fiercer. Through his link with Qianzhou, Taiwan saw Minji's team pinned down by heavy fire. Wolves lay motionless on the ground. Some falcons had fallen too. Then something amazing happened. Bukdu, Jaiho's black wolf, ran to where Minji's team was trapped. Qianzhou flew down and landed briefly on the wolf's back. Together, they charged the Krathar position, bird and wolf as one force. The Krathar, confused by this impossible team, hesitated just long enough for Minji's soldiers to break free. "Charges set," Daho reported. 2 minutes to detonation. "Everyone out," Taiwan ordered. "Fall back to the meeting point." As they ran from the station, Taiwan looked up. Qianzhou showed him the view from above. All across the valley, humans, wolves, and falcons fought together against the alien invaders. "It's working," he said to Vorkal. "It's actually working." The alien's 4 eyes gleamed. "This is just the beginning." "Something's wrong," Vorkal said suddenly. They were halfway to the meeting point when the alien stopped. The guards changed positions too quickly. They knew where we would attack. Before Taiwan could respond, the sky filled with Krathar ships. Not just one or two, but a dozen. Far more than should have been in this area. "It's a trap," Minji shouted. "Take cover." Energy blasts hit the ground around them. Trees exploded into flame. Soldiers scattered, seeking shelter. Through his link with Qianji, Taiwan saw the terrible truth. Krathar troops surrounded them on all sides. There was no escape route. How did they know? Daiho asked, crouching behind a fallen tree. Vorkal's 4 eyes narrowed. They were waiting for us. For me. A massive Krathar ship descended from the clouds. Its bottom opened, and a beam of light shot down. A hologram appeared in the clearing. A tall Krathar in ornate armor. General Vorkal. The hologram spoke in the harsh Krathar language. "You have led us directly to the human resistance. Well done." Taiwan turned to Vorkal, his weapon raised. "You betrayed us." "No," Vorkal insisted. "This is Commander Rekshar. He wants you to doubt me." The hologram continued. "We knew you would seek the humans after your supposed escape. Your tracking implant worked perfectly." Vorkal touched the back of his neck in horror. "The medical implant. I thought it was damaged in the crash." "You led them right to us," Minji said, her voice cold with anger. "I didn't know," Vorkal whispered. "I truly didn't know." The Krathar forces closed in. Soldiers fell under their fire. Taiwan saw Minji hit as she tried to reach better cover. "Minji," he shouted, running to her side. Blood soaked her uniform. "Should have known better than to trust an alien," she said weakly. Jaiho appeared beside them, his clothes torn and dirty. "We need to retreat to the high rocks. It's our only chance." "There are too many," Taiwan said. "We'll never make it." Jaiho's eyes hardened. He stood up and faced the approaching Krathar forces. "Get her to safety. I'll buy you time." Before Taiwan could stop him, Jaiho put his fingers to his lips. The whistle that came out was different from any they had heard before, wild and desperate, rising and falling like a storm. The wolves responded immediately. From all directions, they charged the Krathar lines. Not in small groups for hit-and-run attacks, but in waves. Dozens sacrificed themselves to breach the alien ranks. "What is he doing?" Vorkal asked in horror. "They're dying." Giving us a chance, Taiwan realized. He lifted Minji and called to his remaining soldiers, "Fall back to the rocks. Now." As they retreated, Bukdu suddenly appeared beside Jaiho. The black wolf stood firm as others fell around her. Above, Qianji and the surviving Falcons dove at the Krathar, targeting visors and weapon joints. Vorkal helped carry Minji. "The relay," he said urgently. "Even if this group was a trap, the other teams might succeed." "If the charges blow," Taiwan agreed. They reached the high rocks as more soldiers fell. Only 12 humans remained from their original 30. Half the Falcons were gone. Wolves lay dead across the battlefield. "The relay hasn't blown," Q1 said, checking his tablet. "Something's wrong with the charges." Vorkal looked at the distant tower, still standing. "There's another way. The power core can be overloaded from inside." His voice changed. "But whoever does it won't survive." "Then it's over," Daiho said bitterly. "No," Vorkal stood up straight. "I can do it. My access codes still work." "It's suicide," Taiwan said. "It's my fault you're in this trap," Vorkal replied. "Let me fix my mistake." Minji looked up at the alien from where she lay wounded. "Why would you sacrifice yourself for us?" Vorkal touched a symbol on his armor. "On my world, we have a saying. Honor is not in victory, but in fighting for what is right. Your Earth is worth fighting for." He turned to Taiwan. "Keep me covered until I reach the relay. And if I succeed, tell others that not all Krathar are your enemies." Taiwan nodded slowly. We'll cover you. As Vorkal prepared to leave their shelter, Jaiho's whistle rang out once more. The remaining wolves gathered around the alien general, ready to escort him through the battlefield. Now, Taiwan shouted. His remaining soldiers opened fire, creating a path through the Krathar lines. Vorkal ran forward, surrounded by wolves. Bukdu led the pack, knocking down alien soldiers who got too close. Above, Qianji and 3 other Falcons dove at the Krathar, striking their visors to blind them. Keep firing, Ta-One ordered. He watched through Qianji's eyes as Vorkal fought his way toward the relay station. The alien general moved with surprising grace. He knew exactly where to strike his fellow Krathar to disable them quickly. One by one, he fought past the guards at the entrance. He's inside, Ta-One reported. Jaiho crouched nearby, blood running down his arm from a wound. The wolves will hold the entrance as long as they can. Q1 monitored the radio. Other teams are reporting heavy resistance worldwide. Some relays have fallen, but not enough. Minutes passed. The fighting grew more intense. The hologram of Commander Rekshar appeared again. Your resistance is pointless, the Krathar leader announced. Your primitive animals cannot defeat our technology. As if answering this claim, a wolf leaped through the hologram, disrupting it. Suddenly, Ta-One heard Vorkal's voice through his radio. I've reached the core. Beginning override sequence. How long will it take? Ta-One asked. 2 minutes, Vorkal replied. But there's something else. I found data on their command ship's weaknesses. I'm downloading it now. Inside the relay station, Vorkal worked quickly. His clawed fingers moved over control panels, entering complex codes. Around him, the core's light pulsed faster. Download complete, he reported. I've stored the data in a crystal. Someone needs to retrieve it before. An explosion rocked the station. Through the radio, they heard Vorkal grunt in pain. Vorkal, Ta-One called. Report. I'm hit, the alien general replied weakly. But the process has started. It cannot be stopped now. At the rocks, Minji struggled to sit up despite her wounds. He's actually doing it, she said with newfound respect. Ta-One turned to Daho. We need that data crystal. It might be our only chance to end this war. I'll go, Daho volunteered. No, said a voice behind them. It was Hyunwoo, the young soldier Vorkal had saved on the cliff. He saved my life. I'll go. Before anyone could stop him, Hyunwoo sprinted toward the station. 2 wolves immediately ran beside him, protecting his path. Through Qianji's eyes, Ta-One watched the young soldier reach the station and disappear inside. 1 minute until overload. Vorkal's voice came through the radio, weaker now. The Krathar forces seemed to sense something was wrong. They intensified their attack on the station. There, Jaiho pointed. Hyunwoo emerged from the station, clutching something small and shining. The wolves formed a circle around him as he ran back toward the rocks. 30 seconds, Vorkal said. It was an honor to fight with you all. The honor was ours, Ta-One replied, his voice thick. Hyunwoo reached them just as a blinding light erupted from the relay station. A wave of energy pulsed outward. Every Krathar weapon and ship suddenly went dark. The aliens stood confused, their technology dead in their hands. It worked. Q1 shouted, checking his tablet. Reports coming in. Relays are down worldwide. The Krathar fleet is blind. Ta-One looked at the crystal Hyunwoo had brought. What did Vorkal find? He said it contains maps of their command ship. Hyunwoo explained. Weak points. Communication frequencies. Everything we need. As dawn broke over the battlefield, human forces emerged from cover. The Krathar, without their technology, retreated in confusion. Jaiho stood on a high rock. He put his fingers to his lips and whistled. Not a battle call this time, but a long, sad sound of mourning. The surviving wolves lifted their heads and howled in response. Qianjai landed on Taiwan's arm. The falcon's feathers were singed, but her eyes were still bright. She looked toward the tree line where Baekdu stood watching them. 3 species fought together today, Minji said as Q1 bandaged her wounds. 4, if you count the birds separately. Not just fought, Taiwan corrected, looking at the crystal that held humanity's future. 1. He raised his hand, and Qianji took flight once more. The falcon circled above them, then flew toward the rising sun. Below, wolves howled one final time for the alien general who had fought beside them and given his life for Earth. The first battle had been won. Now, with Vorkal's gift, they would plan the next.